Over the past few years, I've tried a lot of the different business models out there, specifically online, and I know that you've seen videos like this on the best business model to start, and this is the problem I have with all the info space here on YouTube, is that what you're listening to, and I have the models up here, like dropshipping, a service-based business, affiliate marketing, Amazon FBA, you've heard it all, and something that I want you to be very cautious of is whoever you're listening to, remember that at the end of the day, they are a marketer. And so their sole purpose is to sell you on any of these specific business models, okay? And so you have to be very careful, guys. You have to be very careful on who you listen to because that's the current problem right now. Now, in my honest opinion, the success I've seen, what I've made 6 figures in, is specifically a service business, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video because it's a cash cow, high profit business. These require upfront capital. I just don't enjoy them. Besides affiliate marketing, it could also work. But this is what we're talking about because this is what I've made money in. And you have to understand that whatever people pitch you, specifically even in the online service space, is you have all these new models in this space getting pitched to you, like becoming a growth creator, an IPGA, all these different variations of online service models. And at the end of the day, the people teaching you this stuff are marketers. And so all that they're doing is putting a fancy name onto the business model they're teaching you, when fundamentally there's 3 different models within the online service space that you could run with, okay? And so I'm gonna show you the models right here. And again, I am also a marketer. So I'm not here to tell you that I'm not selling anything as well, right? And I'm gonna show you exactly what it is that I'm selling as well because I'm trying to be very just open about the whole thing, right? So real quick, I'll give you this display so I could explain it to you. There's 3 variations. Online service business models here. We have done for you, done with you, and do it yourself, right? Done for you is an agency. Done with you is coaching, consulting. And do it yourself is to sell a course, okay? Now, I'm gonna explain what you should do because all these vehicles work. There's people, millions of people using all these different models and selling a ton with it. Specifically with this one right here, with the done for you agency model, is where you see a lot of these marketers try to sell you some different type of variation, when in reality, it's all the same exact thing, right? You're doing a service for another business to help them save time, make more money, all that type of stuff, right? Now, in terms, just to be transparent, guys, with what I sell, I got to 6 figures with an agency here. And I ran into the problems of an agency that no guru that I was paying and looking up to told me about. So I launched a done with you coaching or consulting offer, and this is my plan to 7 figs. So the only thing I sell is that if you're an agency at 6 figures, you could look somewhere in the description and talk to me about it on how you can get into a coaching or consulting offer, package up the skills you've built, right? Enough of that, that's what I sell. So if that's not you, don't worry and just keep watching, okay? So with these 3 models, there's kind of a graph that I want to show you guys to explain based on your situation, where you're at, your experience and everything like that, on where you should actually go. And this is the best way for me to show this to you guys. But we have these 2 lines right here, right? This line right here is the sell. And this line right here is delivery. This is selling, the actual thing that you're selling, and how easy it is to get sales, and this is the delivery and what happens after you actually get a sale. On this end of the spectrum, we have, I guess we could call it ease. So think of this as like 0, think of this as 10. And this is, like the 0 to 10 is really like the difficulty. So 0 to 10 is how difficult this thing is. Now, with the first model here, done for you agency, and I'll explain my story a little bit, but I started an agency myself about 2 years ago, and I started working with realtors. I started offering them Facebook ads, and eventually I started helping them with appointment setting and everything like that. And the reason that I think an agency is, or just a done for you service is the best way to start as a beginner, is because you really don't have you don't have an audience, so you don't have people that look up to you as an authority in your specific industry. So it'll be very hard for you to sell a course, right? because most course sellers and creators are people that have a really big audience. They're experts at day trading, or they're experts at, pressure washing or whatever it might be. And then when you have people that look up to you like that, it's very easy to sell a course for $200, $1,000 and get people to sign up, right? Think Iman Gadzhi, a lot of these people have sold courses, and that's the reason. And I'm going to explain why they actually do that now versus running an agency. And that's what these lines are actually for, right? And so just to go with the first model here, right, with the done for you service, in terms of how easy the sell is, right, on a 0 to 10 level, it is actually fairly easy to sell an agency offer. Right here we have done for you, which is an agency. And so it's about a 1 or a 2 in terms of actually selling this service for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. Why is that? Well, with an agency, what you're selling is the implementation, again, to make people more money or really to save them time. And as an example of agency services, you have content editing, you have creating ads or optimizing your ads, you have placing an appointment setter into your business. You have all these services that you could offer as an agency, and the consumer, the person actually being sold to by you, doesn't necessarily have to do anything. And there's pros and cons to it, but when it comes to selling it, it's not that difficult to sell. Because you're coming to a business owner and you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to run your ads for you to get you X, Y, and Z results. You see? And so it's very easy for them to say yes if they see that it makes sense for them, because they really don't have anything to do from it, which we'll get into in a second, which was the problem I ran into with my agency. But yeah, in terms of selling, it's about like a 1 or a 2. But on the delivery side, the done for you service is about right here. It's about an 8 or a 9, right? This is done for you, like I said. It's about an 8 or a 9. Now, why is this? Because once somebody actually pays you, you now have to deliver on your services. We know this, right? And the problem is that at scale, at 40, 50 clients like I had in my agency, it becomes very overwhelming. If I'm taking care of people's ads, if I'm monitoring ad accounts and then making sure that their CRMs are working properly, like, it can become very difficult at scale. And that's why the delivery process can actually be so hard. And that's the problem that people don't tell you about an agency, is that it's very easy to sell. That's why beginners do it. That's why I started with it. Very easy to sell this service once you learn the fundamental skills. And if you're doing paid ads, think about all the resources online. Look at Hermosi and his book. You could go listen to it on his website right now for free and learn how to run paid ads. And then you could go to local businesses and sell the service of running their ads. So this is implementation, right? I'm not going to write it down, but done for you agency, you're selling the implementation. And with that comes an easy sell, but a difficult service delivery. And that's the problem I ran into with mine. Okay, and before I break down kind of my journey and where I'm going, let's talk about the next model here, right? So now we're looking at done with you coaching, consulting, this model. With this model, you are no longer selling the implementation of something. What you are now selling is a transformation. And a really easy way to think about it is you're selling an A to B transformation. And what you're doing is the fundamental pieces of an offer is who, what, and how. And so with the coaching or consulting business, it's who are you helping, what are you helping them with, and how are you helping them? So for me right now, and what I told you that I sold, the A to B transformation that I'm selling, as an example, is A, you're doing 6 figures with your agency. That's the who. You've scaled up your agency, you've scaled up your online service. That's the actual who that we're selling. Now, what are we selling? Well, you talk about pain points and struggles and problems, and that's just me looking at my previous agency. I was burnt out from all this service delivery. I was working 12, 14 hours a day, right? Burnt out. I had to build a huge team, so I had low profit. These are all the things that they're at in point A. And point B, what I'm selling, the what that I'm selling, is taking them from an agency owner to a consultant. Because the outcome that I'm selling is, 20 to 50K a month in profit. I'm selling you not having to work 12, 14 hours a day. You could do this with huge profit margins, 90% margins. You could do this with a lean team. And so I'm not trying to sell you right now. What I'm trying to tell you is that with a done with you offer, you are no longer selling an implementation that you were in an agency. You are now selling the transformation from your clients. You are taking them from a very specific point and position that they're in, and you are bringing them into a different field. So you are literally transforming them, and you're getting them a certain result, and that's what people pay for here, right? Now, where does this end up on the chart? So, with a done with you offer, the sell is way more difficult. The sell's about here. So we have done with you. So this is about like a 5, 6, somewhere around there. 5, 6 out of 10 in terms of difficulty to actually sell people. Again, because you are now selling a transformation, and what you are selling is not you doing something and they just have to sit back and relax. You are working with clients where you are teaching them a certain set of skills that they're going to go and implement on their own. So when they commit to working with you as a coach or a consultant, they're committing to doing a lot of different things. They're committing to sticking, being held accountable, and seeing through the vision of how you're going to take them from A to B, and trusting in you as that person to help them get there. Now, the beauty in the done with you offer that I'm currently running, that I'm helping other people with, is when it comes to delivery. And this comes back to scaling, guys, right? You could easily scale to 10K a month with an agency. I'll show you a graph here in a second on my whole scaling process. I got to around 30K a month with my agency in revenue, not profit. But with this done with you offer, the delivery is extremely simple, right? We have it's honestly like a 2 to a 4 on the difficulty scale with a done with you offer. Because what you're delivering, when someone actually pays you money, you do not have to go and start setting up funnels and start editing content and start doing all these weird things. All that you're doing is you're actually getting on calls with people, right? So you're teaching them, you're coaching them. The fundamental baseline foundation to a good done with you offer on the delivery side is great coaching, great consulting. It's great curriculum, so very short, actionable stuff, not a course. Curriculum in a done with you offer is very different. A course are 4-hour videos like Iman Ghazi's that I bought. I'm not trying to throw shade, that's what got me into all this. But the curriculum in a done with you offer is actionable 10, 20, 30-minute videos from the stuff that you've learned, the set of skills that you're teaching these people, that you're not repetitively telling them on calls. When you're coaching people, what you'll realize is that A to B transformation you're selling on the A side, like you're gonna be hitting this specific niche. And so you're gonna be repetitively telling them the same things that they need to be doing. And that's what you actually package in your curriculum, is short, actionable stuff that they can implement. Besides the curriculum, besides the coaching, you're also giving them a community. People love having a community. One of the biggest things I dealt with in an agency, or at least scaling it up for a year, I talked to no friends. I literally cut off everybody because I was working 12 to 14 hours a day like I showed you. And the one thing that I wanted most was a community of people that I could come to and talk about my struggles, talk about my wins, be able to brainstorm ideas, right? If you guys know Luke Belmar, he talks about the concept on having a peer, a mentor, and a mentee. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's 3 things that you need, and this is so true, guys. A mentor is somebody that's ahead of you, that you're paying them or you're working with them so that you could follow exactly the path that they took and get there faster. So you always need a mentor, you always need a coach, you always need someone that's ahead of you, that's where you want to be. You also need a peer, so you need friends and people that you know that are at your same level that you could combat ideas, you could talk about things, and you could brainstorm with, right? And then ultimately you need a mentee, and you need people that are under you that you are helping, that you're really just guiding, because they're gonna hold you accountable and they're gonna look up to you, and you're gonna have to start really just being consistent with it, right? And so it's having these three different people. Not to get too off tangent, but that's the beauty of a community, and that's the beauty of having a mentor, a peer, and a mentee, or multiple. And so coming back to earth here, delivery with a done with you offer is about a 2 out of 4 because you're offering coaching, curriculum, and a community, right? And with this, that's really all you need for a done with you offer. That's why for me now, I work about 4 hours a day because I work more, honestly, but that's because I want to. But I can work as little as 4 hours a day. I could take days off, and that's the beauty of this model. Now, where should you actually enter in here? Before I get to the last one, do it yourself. Done for you, I recommend is like 0 to 10, maybe 30K a month. You could take it. And don't get me wrong, there are exceptions here, guys. Like, there's people running agencies at hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, but it's awful, right? Because you're sacrificing something. If you want to have super high profit in an agency, get ready to work 12, 14 hours a day and literally burn out because you're just doing everything. And if you're not doing everything, you have a huge team doing it for you, and profit's extremely low. It's unfulfilling. You're on Zoom calls all day managing your team, and it sucks. And so that's why I recommend this is the sweet spot. Anything past this, you're really pushing to make this model work when fundamentally the model isn't meant to make you 7 figures. But the model can help you get into this industry because you don't have any previous skills, you don't have an authority, you don't have an audience that looks up to you, that would love for your coaching, that would love your course. And so this is how I got into this industry, and this is how you can too. Now, done with you, you enter in around, like 5 to 30K a month. You could start coaching or consulting people by simply building a brand, documenting your journey. Throughout the whole journey, I wish that I was documenting my agency even earlier, when I was at 0. Because documenting it and really showing everything that I went through will allow people to resonate with me that are at the same spot. And once they see me become successful, they are gonna look for me for guidance. They are gonna look for me as their mentor, like I just showed you. And so at that 5 to 30K a month range, you now have a set of skills that you could go and teach other people and you could implement into their business. You could even add a done with you offer on top of your agency offer. I know some people that do that. So now they make their agency super high ticket. They're charging $5,000, $10,000 a month for their done for you service. But if a client wants just coaching or consulting on the stuff that they're teaching, you could sell it for a $4,000 or $5,000 package. Now that's really like the exception is those agencies at a really high scale. In my opinion, selling this done with you offer, you could actually sell for more. You could sell this for $5,000. Why? Because you're selling the excuse my handwriting. You're selling the transformation here. So it's more valuable for me to go to somebody and say, look, if you're running an agency at 6 figures, I'm gonna help you launch a done with you offer to make 20 to 50K a month in profit, not have to feel like a slave to your clients, and build a business that you actually enjoy. Selling that transformation, I could sell for a ton of money. Selling my agency services, maybe I could sell for 1K a month because I'm only solving a little piece. I'm solving the implementation of ads, right? And so it's a completely different sell. And that's why even though you're doing less work with a done with you offer, you could sell it for more money because you're selling the A to B transformation. I hope I hit that point home for you guys. But yeah, so that's done with you. Last part we got here, and I'll switch up the colors, is do it yourself. And then we'll talk about another concept, so stick with me here. Do it yourself with a course. Very simple, guys. Like, the sell is extremely hard. Like, it's an 8 to a 10 for DIY. Why is this? Because a course, you're just gatekeeping information. And so that's why, like, I honestly don't recommend selling a course unless you have a ton of followers. You have a super engaged audience. And even then, you could only sell a course for so much money because you're not selling a transformation anymore. You're not selling a transformation like you are with the done with you offer. But with do it yourself, what are you selling? It's simply info. It's simply information. And you could only sell information for so much money. But at scale, delivery is right here. It's literally a 0. This marker sucks. Do it yourself is literally a 0. Because you create your course one time and you sell it for as many times, literally as much as possible, infinitely. And so that's why it's so attractive to big influencers and people in this space to sell a course, because they don't have to fulfill on anything. The second you pay them, it's in their account, they have nothing to do, and that's the beauty of a course. So I recommend this when you have really no dollar amount, but just like a huge audience. And there's so many shit courses out there that, if you have a big audience and you make an actual good course that gets results, you could definitely scale it, right? So I hope you guys kind of understand the different models and where you're at and what fits into what. But I'll tell you guys a little bit about my kind of graph of how I made money here. Because it could relate to a lot of you. Like I said, I started with an agency. And I'll show you guys exactly what I mean right now. So we can look at it. We got this graph here, right? Now, we could call this right here money. And we can call this right here time, right? Starting off right here. When I entered the space, I was 19. And let's call this right here 1 year. Let's call this right here 2 years. And let's call this 3 years, all the way back here. This is my timeline here. I got into this game at 19. And at 19, all I did for for most of the first year of business for me, I read books. I listened to a lot of podcasts. Every time I was going to the gym, literally anywhere I would be, I would have a podcast on. And I started buying courses because I needed the information. I didn't even know what a client was at 19. Like, I was completely clueless about anything in the space. So I invested a ton of time into actually learning all this stuff. And so you guys know actually how long it took me. I spent the first 8 months all the way from here to here. I made $0. And I was working every single day for at least 8 hours a day. I was working. So this includes me doing all this stuff, but also taking action. Because that's by far, if you guys know my brand, like, that's the most important thing. You need to take crazy action on whatever it is you're doing. So I was taking action. I was sending outreach. I was doing all this stuff for my agency while listening to the books, podcasts, courses. And in the first 8 months, I didn't make a sale until that 8-month mark. And at this 8-month mark, I guess I should actually write it like this. It was 0 up until there. At the 8-month mark, I got my first payment of $2,000. And that was the start of it all, right? That was my first agency client, my first realtor that I started working with. And so if you look at it, I guess this will not be to scale, but we'll call this 10K. We'll call this 30K, 50, 100K. This is all per month, right? And so here's my journey to 10K a month, right? And the thing is that most people quit somewhere in between here. Why didn't I quit? After 8 months of spending all my time learning about this stuff, having nothing to show for it, I would have thousands of dollars saved up if I had like a normal job. I didn't quit because I dropped out of college. And so this is a whole separate concept. Back against wall. This is controversial, but it's important. I think one of the biggest things that changed my life was putting my back against the wall. Was dropping out of college and deciding, look, I'm gonna make this shit work. And that decision alone, where I literally gave myself no other option, because as humans, we are attracted to comfort and we're scared of the unknown, we're scared of failing. Our brains will push us to a place of staying comfortable and having a safety net, and it's a bunch of horseshit. Okay? You need to put your back against the wall to force your brain to understand that this is the safety net. I'm going to make this work. This will be my retirement fund, right? And so I put my back against the wall, and that's what made me stick through 8 months of nothing, of no results. Most people quit somewhere in here, the first couple months in. People expect themselves to enter the online business space and in 60 days make more than 99% of Americans. It's absurd. It's insane. And so, long story short, I hit my first $2,000 payment 8 months in, and then about 3 months after, like somewhere here. So it was kind of like a curve like this, right? It was just stagnant, boom. And then I started going up, I hit my first 10K month about 3 months after doing this. Why is this? Because this first payment I got, I didn't give up the information I was learning. I actually hired a mentor that was exactly where I wanted to be. And he actually showed me, dude, you're doing all this stuff wrong. You're a dummy. And he's like, just do this, this, and this instead. And I did this, this, and that. And I got to 10K a month. Real simple, because he was way past that already. That's the importance of actually learning from people that are at where you want to be. And so I hit my first 10K month. And so you could look at it like this. When I put F here, F stands for front end. B, I'm writing completely sideways here, guys. Excuse me. B is back end, okay? So stick with me here. This whole year and some change that I was working on my business, I was focused on the front end. How could I acquire clients? And so I focused on the front end, and I got to this amount, but now I had to deliver results. And what ended up happening? I had to slow down, and I started actually not focusing so much on client acquisition because I had to build the back end of my business. I had to start delivering service, start getting client results, okay? And now throughout this time, I eventually did get to 30K a month with my agency. And I'll explain that right here. So I focused on the back end, and then I was kind of hovering around 15, 20K when I started moving to the front end. And then I scaled really hard. I got a team of outreach people, and about 2 years roughly in, I hit my first 26K a month recurring in revenue in my agency, and then I had some split pays and other things on the side that got me to 30. And this was all just focused on the front end here, right? The biggest thing changed my life here. I hit the wall of the back end, and I tanked back down to around 15, 20K because I had so much to focus on here. And I'm talking about, like, I had to build a whole team to actually deliver my service. And it was awful. It was awful because what ended up happening? Now with a huge team, I was still working 12, 14 hours a day managing. Now I'm a manager, dude. I was a manager. On top of this, profit was lower. And I was unhappy AF. It sucked. And that's when I decided, guys, this was my whole done for you journey. To kind of wrap up here, that's when I decided that in order for me to break through and hit these heights and get to 50, 100, it's not just a straight line up. Any business, there's constraints. Any business, things are gonna break, and you're gonna have to build systems around it. But the business model that I chose in order to get me to 50, 100K a month, working on the front end, will be a done with you offer. Will be a coaching or consulting offer, because that business model is meant for scale. But at the beginning, you do want to focus on a done-for-you service. You want to develop a stack of skills that gave me the foundation to appointment setting, to sales, client acquisition, to ad, to becoming a media buyer. I never had my own media buyer. I was my media buyer for the majority of it until I hired my team here. But that's my plan right now. And so now with my done-with you offer, almost 3 years in, I'm now back at that 30K a month mark. The good thing about it is that it's way more profit. I'm working 4 or 5 hours a day, right? Now, I mean, like today I'm gonna work 8, 10 hours, but it cancels out. Some days I don't have to work if I don't want to. So, and I also, it's literally just me right now. like I don't have a team I have to manage. So it's super profitable, it's super fun. I'm getting my clients better results because they're taking accountability, they're implementing everything that I'm saying. And so guys, this was my graph. This is my plan to get to 50, 100K a month, is now I'm focusing on a done with you offer. And my camera's running out of storage here, so I hope you got value out of this video. I hope you understand the actual model and vehicle that you're gonna choose to scale. If you're at this range, right, if you're at 10, 30K a month, with a done for you offer, some sort of set of skills, and you wanna get to 30, 50K a month in profit, then you could look somewhere in the description. You can see what it's like to work with me. But besides that, guys, I'm going to continue putting out videos to help you scale your agency, to help you make 6 figures initially. And then my whole goal is after that, you could then work with me to scale. But yeah, I hope you appreciated this one, and click that subscribe button below, and I'll see you later.